Traditionally, a treasurer would have grown up in the operations department, would have extreme expertise in the existing processes, would be very process orientated, would have to be a very big people manager, often managing extremely large teams across MNCs with global treasury teams, shared service center engagement with 10, 20, hundreds of people at times in the shared service centers servicing the treasury department. That's changing, and it's changing as part of this digital evolution, or arguably revolution, where treasurers are now having to be much more familiar with software engineering, technology itself, and not from a who can I buy it from, but how do I actually use it to change how we do things, as well as data and data scientists and data analysts actually embedded in the treasury function, who will actually be a whole new approach to how we drive decisioning within the treasury department, will, what I believe, really change the way that a treasurer or an AT will have to act and behave in terms of who they hire, how they staff, how they look at things.
I think investing in the automation aspects, building out a team that has more competencies than perhaps just a traditional finance background. So someone who's familiar with writing code or doing data science, basically kind of understanding treasury, but understanding it in a much more digital sense and finding ways to streamline, your day-to-day processes. So I think the investment's more on the people side than it is necessarily on the infrastructure side, depending on the approach that you're taking. But I think finding that healthy mix is very important for the Treasury of the future.
I think Treasury would need more analytics in their team, project management to implement new technologies, some new technology knowledge of what's going on, to explore how the Treasury can support everything that is out there.
It's being in a position where you are upskilling, and that might mean bringing new people in with technical skills, but most of it is about creating the time, thinking space and learning space to learn these new technologies yourself, because actually the most critical thing is still understanding the challenges of Treasury, still understanding the challenges of risk and liquidity, and still understanding those needs. That business knowledge is as critical as ever. You can acquire the new technical skills, you only need a tiny bit of that technical knowledge. What you really need is that business knowledge, and that's where the Treasury teams are already strong.
So what we've seen is a digital treasury is an accelerator to kind of the legacy way you think about treasury. And so we use digital, the cultural change of a digital transformation, and then the tools and techniques around the digital change as an accelerator. And what's required to do that is really the people, right? So really getting a culture that's comfortable with some calculated risk, more analytical thought process, maybe not your typical treasury professional skill set, but align them with treasury talent to really be an accelerator. I think more of what we call like a digital mindset is important in those treasury roles. You want folks that understand treasury and have the expertise, but you want to make sure you're also complementing that with skill sets around data, analytics, kind of more creative, wanting to learn mindset. I think also employees who aren't as comfortable in those hierarchical relationships, you really want a flat organization where people feel empowered to challenge one another, try new things, fail, but try again. I think that's important. I think that's the new Treasury.